Hello everyone, welcome to the Sleepy Witch Tarot. I am Mitzi, and today we'll be diving into what superpowers do you have as a tarot spread. I was inspired because I recently got this Marvel deck for my birthday from a friend of mine, which was really sweet of them. Thank you, Jay. And I was like, how cool would it be if we had like a superhero slash comic book themed spread? So we'll be exploring your unique abilities and strengths and traits through tarot, and then we'll reimagine them as fictionalized superpowers. So we'll be uncovering your inner superhero, so to speak. If you haven't already chosen a pile through my thumbnail, you're more than welcome to choose so now. We have Doctor Strange / the Magician as pile 1. We have Spidey-Man or the Page of Cups for pile 2. And then we have Gambit from X-Men as the Wheel of Fortune for pile 3. Okay, feel free to take your time, meditate if you need to. Yes, meditate if you need to. And we'll see you guys in a little bit within your designated piles. All right, bye-bye. All right, pile 1, welcome to your video. I usually like to start off the reading by checking in with your energy to make sure that it resonates and that you know that you're in the right pile. So I picked up the Buffalo Spirit, the Abundant Universe Will Provide, and the Wombat Spirit, Be at Home. So right off the bat, I see you as, I'm already getting a few zodiac signs. I see a couple earth energies, Capricorn and Taurus, but I also see Cancer. With the Buffalo Spirit, I see you as probably practical. I see you as maybe grounded. Both animals are pretty earthy to me. So you might be grounded. I see you as nurturing but protective, in a protective way, especially because with the buffalo, they are kind of kept to themselves, but they are always with the tribe. And the Wombat Spirit as well, they kind of burrow in and nest. They live inside burrows, if you didn't know, and they kind of nest inside. Probably when you're around your tribe, despite your reserved nature, you might feel the most at home and at peace in yourself. With the Wombat Spirit, it could also be that you just like, you really prioritize and want to maintain your home. That's like a sanctuary for you. It's where all the things you love are, and it's where you feel the most comfortable. I'm really getting like a little bit of reserved spirit or reserved nature here. Sorry, excuse me. Even with the Buffalo Spirit, they both, even with the tribe, they kind of do their own thing. You might, yeah, they kind of walk with strides on their own. So you might have like a small circle of people that support you and love you around you, but you still are often on your own and doing your own thing, which is cool, which is totally fine. Much respect. Yeah. Very nurturing, but in a protective sense. I think I mentioned that because both Wombat Spirit and the Buffalo Spirit, they have a tribe around them, and if one part of their tribe gets unsettled, they are often there to kind of regroup with the rest of them, and more particularly with the Buffalo Spirit, regroup with the other community members or tribes and get them to a better or safer place. You also, with the Abundant Universe Will Provide, you might be focusing on building your abundance right now. You might be focusing on your career a lot, especially financial abundance is coming to me, just because of how indigenous Americans treated the buffalo. They used like their whole body and didn't waste anything, you know, and that's what's speaking to me right now. It's kind of what you I can't talk. Basically, you're really putting a lot of energy into practicality and rebuilding or building that financial security for yourself is what I'm trying to get at. Or you might be a financial planner advisor, totally up to you. With the wombat spirit, you might work remotely. Take it as it resonates. I'm just kind of throwing things out that comes naturally to me with these animal spirits. I think I mentioned Taurus, Cancer, and Capricorn. Doesn't have to be your sun sign. It could be another major planetary placement. It could be your rising even. Moon, Venus, Mars. Yeah, you guys are deeply respectful of tradition with both spirits, and could be very respectful of nature. Very generous. Okay, so if that resonates, great, you're in the right pile. Let's go ahead and get started. Let me move these guys aside. Excuse me, let me get my tea. Okay, so today I decided instead of like getting the cards ready already, I'm gonna shuffle them in as I go. So what is group 1 superpower? Okay, a card already. Perfect. Oh, shit. Okay. So we got the 5 of Cups. Okay. Huh. With Moon Knight. Okay. So with the 5 of Cups, I'm sensing a lot of loss, of grief, of disappointment. That's kind of what the card represents. You might have gone through something like that in the past, something that was a huge upheaval in your life, and you built a lot of emotional resilience. That might be your biggest strength, actually, as an individual, is that you have a lot of resilience. What's the saying? It's like the poster child of resilience. You might get that a lot. You might be told that a lot by colleagues, people in your community. I get that a lot from older women. I don't know about you guys, but I understand their sentiments. Very sweet. So yeah, your strength is to be able to bounce back from setbacks and obstacles. I'm not necessarily saying that this is something that you enjoy doing. It's always kind of a challenge to anyone who goes through any tower moment or upheaval in their life, but I can imagine that there's been so many upheavals, or something had changed your life so dramatically that you have the equipment, the tools to kind of better prepare yourself for these types of obstacles or challenges that may come your way. And as a superpower, I can definitely see you being an empath. Definitely empath, emotional alchemy, or emotional manipulation even. I'm getting a lot of like Raven vibes from the Teen Titans, or even Mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy. So to kind of go into the superpower a little bit, an empath is when you absorb or sense or manipulate emotions around you. The absorbed energy can turn into healing abilities, which I can really see with you guys, especially with the animal spirits we pulled, where you kind of have like this nurturing aspect to yourself, and like an eye to keep at least your inner circle safe. Or psionic abilities, which kind of gains control of mind, or you can read minds with telepathy. I really like emotional influence with Mantis, so and that's kind of how I imagine it. Mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy, she is an empath as well, much like Raven, and when she touches people, she can kind of get a sense of how they're feeling, but she can also influence how they feel, which is a very cool power, guys. Okay, that might resonate with some of you guys too. Like, I feel like a lot of people might come up to you and without any, like, they might just open up to you randomly. That's what I'm getting, because you guys are such like an empathetic being, or an open person. Something about you just allows people to gravitate and kind of open up and spill the beans, so to speak. So that might resonate. You guys also, I'm getting like counselor vibes a little bit. It doesn't have to mean that you work as a counselor. You might just be like the one to counsel people, or like you might be the mom friend, or like the reliable friend who always has like an ear to lend, with the 5 of Cups. And that might be because you went through a lot. I'm really getting the energy that you guys might have gone through a lot in the past. But let's keep going and see. Let's figure that out. So, what is Group 1's kryptonite? What is Group 1's kryptonite? Oh, shit. Okay. Alright. Just one. Okay. 7 of Swords. So, sorry, I'm gonna be drinking a lot. My mouth dries up during these readings like crazy. So, your kryptonite is deception and strategy. So, someone betraying you, someone deceiving you. I can almost imagine it in real life context almost. Maybe someone who is not vulnerable or forthcoming with their intentions. It's kind of hard to see the red flags when you're not able to see, it's hard when you care about people so much. You might have in the past, maybe now, it doesn't have to be, but have had struggles with not with ignoring those red flags, or putting in too much of yourself, and having that bite you in the butt later. So deceptive friends, colleagues, workers, does not matter. It just seems like you have maybe someone took advantage of you, almost, is what I'm feeling. Someone in the past, could be the recent past, but I think it's like something that I'm almost getting the feeling that it's something that changed your life dramatically. Okay, let me look. Well, let's okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. In superhero comic book context, maybe the 7 of Swords, kryptonite is your shadow. So I'm almost seeing someone who is like Magneto, if you guys are familiar. Magneto from X-Men. He has this helmet. He's the nemesis of Professor X, and Professor X can have psionic and telepathic abilities as well. So he messes with the mind, and Magneto has this helmet specifically to protect against that. Protect against psychic or telepathic powers. So I feel like on the same level, your kryptonite is someone who has this extensive strategic planning involved to create something to counteract your exact powers, and that is mental fortitude. Okay. So who is your friend or support or ally? Who is your ally as a superhero? It is the reversed King of Wands. I'm only taking one. The two cards kind of came out. They were stuck to each other, but I'm only taking this one. Okay, we got the Beast. Okay. Okay. it kind of makes sense with your reserved nature. So I see two thoughts coming from this. So with the Five of Cups, you might do much better in an environment where there's some level of turmoil or chaos. So I'm kind of seeing it. I'm really feeling counselor vibes. Maybe you guys are therapists or counselors, where you can utilize your powers better. So let's just say I'm getting kind of like, the vision I see is Bruce Wayne, but he has empathy powers. So he's like less brooding, Bruce Wayne, so to speak. And you have a lot of political or social influence, and you want to utilize a gala event or like, you know, large events to kind of get a good idea of how to influence or charm people for the betterment of society, you know. That might be, if you guys are counselors or therapists, that kind of makes sense. You want to utilize other people's emotions. You want to be that mirror and then have them, how do I say, take that energy and put it into somewhere else for their own betterment, so to speak. You don't have to be a counselor or therapist. That's just kind of like what I envision. But this could be something that you often do for work, or when you have friends and they need you as their advisor, you know, or family. It could be either in your inner circle. I also see this as, with the King of Wands reversed, I kind of see that you might have a best friend or a really close friend, maybe a brother, sister, family member, that is like the polar opposite of you, but you know they have your back. So in the comic book context, maybe like a Harley Quinn sidekick almost, because yeah, with the Harley Quinn, you guys have like this cute, interesting dynamic together, where you are more reserved and introspective and more structured and stable, maybe even shy, and they are more outgoing. They are more extroverted, chaotic, more impulsive. Yeah, so it's kind of cute actually. So I almost see like Raven much more quiet, and then Harley Quinn. Even Starfire is like a nice contrast to Raven as well in the superhero context. But you might have a friend that, you know, cares about you and sees you as someone who often reserves or isolates themselves. You might isolate yourself when the going is too much, when your emotional energy is too expended. And they might help you recharge and, you know, live or love life again by getting you out there and being that your counterpart to you. Yeah, it's like two gears. They just kind of fit into each other, but in a weird way. It's like you guys are similar, but you guys are so different. And similar in the way that you care for each other. So you guys might have someone like this in your life. This could mean that you guys should find someone. If you guys are looking for friends, you know, you might want to seek someone out that gets you out of the comfort zone and that better helps you or support you in your strengths with the empathy card or your resilience. Okay. Very cool. But on the opposite end, I want to know your foe or what could hinder you. This could be both in the comic book context. So we're building out a story here, but it could also be in real life too. Just so that you guys are mindful of that. Like, what could hinder your emotional resilience, strength? So let's see. Okay, I'm shuffling for too long. One more spare. What could their foe or emotional, oh Jesus, what could their hindrance be for group one? Okay. Interesting. It's kind of funny, actually. It's almost like the opposite of the King of Wands in reverse, the King of Coins. Okay. So it represents like stability, especially financially with the coins here. Just think of Iron Man. You know, he has a lot of assets, he has a lot of income, expendable income too. He has a lot of tangible financial assets, a lot of toys that he plays with. You might be too focused, or a hindrance to you could be focusing on your job too much, or your coins, building that coin, getting that bag. It's not necessarily good, or excuse me, it's not necessarily bad. I don't see it as like a complete bad thing. I almost see it as like excessive focus in this is a bad thing, because Iron Man is an excessive example. He is a multimillionaire, I think, or billionaire, who has a lot more than he needs. So for your superpower, emotional alchemy or emotional influence, or your strength, you know, your real life strength being emotional resilience, I could see that sometimes you kind of maybe try to tune off your empathy or your emotional side of you. You tune it off and shy away from your intuition by putting too much energy into monetary gain and practical. Wait, didn't we just talk about with the buffalo spirit that you might be like focusing a lot? That might be where you are in your life, where you're focusing on rebuilding that abundance. But just be wary, because I do see with the King of Coins being a hindrance or an obstacle to you, that putting too much energy can actually hinder you in your strength. Okay, I kind of love that. Sometimes I kind of like pat myself in the back for calling that right off the bat. That just makes me happy, because that just means that I'm really in tune. But anyways, interesting. Okay, so funny enough, that focusing on that could be a little bit too much. I can almost see this as like, you might be like a real life example. I don't know if you guys can relate, is like watching a lot of TV or reading the news, especially because of the state of the world right now and the political climate. It could be very draining, or you just have a lot of people like, you know, draining you, just wanting so much from you, and you have to expend so much emotional energy that you might just, instead of, you know, being more productive and practical about how you want to expend that, you might just completely turn it off, because you're so exhausted and married to the idea of work or financial stability. And especially, I think I mentioned like remote work, you might just be really in your head, and that could be counterproductive. We also mentioned that, like, yeah, interesting. That could be really counterproductive. Also, this is just like another tidbit that King of Coins represents mental fortitude, and it just goes to show that like your kryptonite definitely is Magneto's helmet. Funny enough. But yes, because I could really sense that like this is a more natural part of you. Your emotional part of you is a more natural, comes more naturally, and it's something that you want to embrace. It's good to embrace. It's just how you go about it. And having to go about it, like putting your energy in something that's the practical opposite, might be more frustrating in the long run, because you're just going to continuously be in the cycle where you're exhausting yourself emotionally. Yeah, okay, interesting. And the reason why is because I don't think, you know, like marrying yourself to work makes you happy either. So you're going to one side where, you know, it is more natural to you, but it's exhausting because there's people mentally or emotionally draining you, or some aspect is emotionally draining you. And then you go to the polar opposite side where you're married to your work, which isn't also good, because now like the stress of work and financial stability is draining you at the same time. So it could just be finding balance, especially with the two polar opposite cards pulled out, is embracing this aspect of you, understanding this aspect of you and then finding balance between that. Let's see though. Let's see. Okay. Let's see what your origin story is. What is group one's origin story? I'm going to take a quick bathroom break, excuse me. Okay. Sorry about that. I already pulled out your card for you. So your backstory is actually the Two of Swords in reverse. I'll get right back into it. So the first thing I noticed with the Two of Swords in reverse is it's some kind of conflict where you had like two pathways, and it eventually led you into some level of emotional turmoil afterwards. So this could be something actually that you guys have experienced recently, especially because I'm getting a lot of like career intensive energy, or like a lot of people putting a lot of their brain power, I guess, into their job to gaining coin. And that could be that you had like two choices and you had to take one choice related to career, and that has fundamentally changed your life, and it made you guys may, oh god, excuse me, you guys have made maybe an upheaval and drastic change in your life because of that, like moving, ending a relationship, or you know, figuring out a different dynamic like long distance maybe, even leaving your hometown, which you have maybe never done before. Also, it could just mean that this was something, and to me it reads to me as if it was your backstory, it could have been, forgive me for being blunt, children of divorce. And that could have been why you are so resilient now as a strength, is because you went through so much emotional turmoil. There's a lot of like court, you know, logistically it's just very complicated, and you might have seen that, you might have gone through a lot of grief during that process, or you could have just lost someone in your life too. But I really see this as like either children of divorce or something. You guys may have chosen a pathway recently in your career life, is what I'm reading it as. Now, as a comic book backstory though, let me come up with an example. Yeah, it's a conflict due to indecision, leading to emotional turmoil. So, in facing a breaking point. So I almost see this as like, I don't know why, but Batman is really coming to my mind again. You know how Batman is in the alleyway with his parents, and his parents get shot? What if he had the choice to put himself in harm's way and save his parents? It's a gamble, right? Either he puts himself in harm's way and saves them, or doesn't. But you know, he has like this choice paralysis that ends up, and this is not what happened in his backstory. I'm just giving this as an example. Like, imagine if he did have this choice paralysis, and that's what caused this emotional turmoil. And now he's brooding like, I could have done more, you know, or yeah, something like that. Like, or like you had, you know, a fire in your home, and you had the chance to save your like sibling, comic book story wise, not real life wise. But let's say like you had a choice to save your family, and you were too scared, and you had this choice paralysis, and either way ended up in their demise, and that's why your empathy powers have heightened. Something like that is, and that could resonate. I know it's like very fictionalized comic book story, origin stories typically are, but this could resonate to your real life too. Like, it could be that you had some form of choice paralysis, that in some indecision that made you go through some kind of like turmoil in your life, some kind of like upheaval where you had to change everything around, and made you focus on financial security to some regard. It could even be like, you know, work-wise. Like, I remember I was talking to a friend recently, and he either could relocate to their studio office in New York City, which was super expensive, no relocation assistance, or be laid off, and he just wasn't sure what to do. and he ended up getting laid off. And then now he's like scrambling to figure it out. So something like that could have been a big moment in your life recently. Interesting. And that kind of makes sense, because it doesn't mean that you just have a lot of emotional resilience, that I almost feel like, you'll get back on your feet, but this is the reason why, why you have those tools equipped in your tool belt to be able to bounce back. So interesting. If that resonates, good on you guys. I would love to know in the comments if you guys want to share, because I think those stories are really uplifting, but no pressure at all. Let's see what your key motivation for justice is as a superhero. What is your key motivation for justice? You guys might hear my dog walking in the background. Key motivation for justice, group 1. Okay. So we got the devil and the Page of Swords reversed. Okay. Let's see. I'll bring this up to the camera actually. We got Loki and we got Gwen in reverse. Gwen from Into the Spider-Verse specifically. Okay. So, yeah, the presence of the devil really kind of speaks to your inner turmoil from probably your backstory, both in real life and comic book wise, your comic book alter ego. Due to the trauma and the general mistrust from this Two of Swords in reverse, you probably developed like a lot of hypervigilance. And that could have been the one to feel your emotional resilience, being hypervigilant, or your, emotional empathy powers, your telepathic and psychic powers. You guys are fueled by the desire to stay at least one step ahead though, and to act decisively. You guys are really justice oriented, actually. I know this is like, I asked what key motivator for justice you guys have, but I do see you guys as someone who feels very justice oriented because of what happened in the past. You really to surmise, even though your powers are born through pain from the Two of Swords, you still have the potential to protect and serve as a positive change. So you still have that like that desire, that motivation, I almost want to, I keep wanting to say motivation, but like that, or desire. I don't want to repeat myself though, but like you have that drive to strategize and be one step ahead so that it doesn't happen to you again or to anyone else in your circle, especially your inner circle, as we discussed, because seems like you have a little tribe that you really they have you in your corner, or what am I trying to say? They're in your corner and you are in their corner, and that's someone that you really want to protect. And in order to do that, you guys have been, with emotional resilience, I see it as like equipment for a tool belt, And if you have a lot of tools in your tool belt, you could run into any trouble and still figure out a way to go about how to change it. And that's kind of how I see it with the Page of Swords and the Devil, is that you have so much tools now that you feel like you are ready. Like life can throw anything at you, and you will have some sort of plan, some sort of like stability in your life. Not stability, some kind of level of like inner knowing and self and inner security, knowing that like you'll be okay to some degree. And that is what pushes you to keep going. Wow, I want to meet you guys. That's very, very cool. Very neat. Okay, let's see who your mentor or guide is in either your personal life and your comic books alter ego's life. So who is your mentor? Who is your guide for group 1? Or who could best serve you as a good guide for group 1? Last, ooh, okay. So we have the King of Cups in reverse. Okay. Okay. I kind of see, we brought up like Professor X already in Magneto. I see this as a Professor X figure. For your mentor guide, I can really see someone who is much more older, much more wise, and more emotionally balanced figure who has kind of a good idea of what you went through. Professor X also is an empath, so you guys might resonate in that way where he kind of understands like how tough it is to have that power, if you know, yeah, because you're the Raven. So it makes sense. They have a good understanding of what you went through. They went through something similar, excuse me. So this could be either someone already in your life or someone that would make a good mentor in your life is someone who's a little bit older than you, who has gone through very similar things, who are kind of similar in that way where they also have emotional resilience and strength. They're just a little bit more established or like more stabilized in their emotional balance. And they want to encourage you to harness your emotional manipulation or your telepathy for good. They want to allow you or teach you to stay in control despite all the noise, despite all the turmoil, despite all the distorted and discord around you, you know, because the world is crazy right now. And that's someone who would really encourage you to be the best that you could be. I hope that you do have someone in your life like this. I do see this as more of a paternal figure because actually no, it could be I think it could be either. I think it's because of this I think you read Tornado is his name. I could be so wrong. Yeah, actually, who is this guy? Okay, I'll figure it out later. But I do see this as a paternal figure just because Professor X came to mind, but I think it's just an older figure in general. They either way, they have like teacher energy. They want to teach you. They want to mentor you and guide you to, because mentors I feel like can be, doesn't have to be teacherly energy, but I specifically see this as like someone who almost paternal. Yeah, let me think about this for a second, because let me sit on this energy for a little bit and figure out how I want to say this. It's not necessarily paternal, not necessarily. A guide can be anyone in your life. It could be a friend, it could be your pets, it could be a teacher, it could be your grandpa. But for whatever reason, I see this as like your neighbor, your old man neighbor that, like Mr. Miyagi, that's it. Okay, there we go. Like I see this as a Mr. Miyagi figure. I don't know why. That could, maybe you guys have like a neighbor that's, you know, kind of keeping an eye on you. They're not like paternal in the way that they're keeping an eye on you all the time, like you're their kid. But there's someone who's watching you from a distance and can kind of notice when you're going through something, you know. And that's how I see the King of Cups in reverse. So that's someone that you could keep in mind if there's no one in your life like that already. Because they're going to encourage you to do the best that you could. They're going to put you in at least they're going to, you know, they want to put you in a path forward so that you could use your strength for good. Okay. And they want to keep an eye on you because they care about you. Okay. Speaking of strength, what is your greatest strength with your superpower? Besides your superpower, I mean something more specific. So what is their Greatest strength. Oh, okay. The Sun in reverse. So it's actually a good thing. I actually see this as a good thing. Because the Sun in reverse tells me that you have the ability to find hope and light, even in the darkest of times. You guys are... Wow. Yeah, you guys... That being said, be careful, because I do see you guys as like almost like a light fixture. You know how like insects, moths, they come to you as a source of light. I think there's some people that are around you sucking your emotional energy out, because you are the sun to them, you know, and they get something to gain out of you. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's intentional or it's bad. I think people just know that you're a good source of energy. But that's also in a way, that's also your greatest strength, because you can find hope in that darkness. You guys as individuals have gone through a lot, probably. And you guys are very strong. Despite everything that you have faced, you still possess inner resilience. And I think you still have the tenacity to overcome adversity. You bring a lot of clarity and truth and healing. Like I said, you could be like actually like the light where insects come to. You guys bring a lot of like emotional stability into someone else's life. Just be careful, like I said, with overdoing that to the point of exhaustion and to the point of not having capacity for yourself either. Because once that goes, you're going to go to the other opposite end. And that's going to exhaust you too. I think this mentor is the type of person who would allow you to find that emotional balance, where you're not overexhausting yourself, where you're not feeding into people that are going to take advantage of you. And they're going to allow you to have capacity for yourself while also attaining the goals that you want and improving yourself. Yeah, I'm really curious. Wow, that actually kind of like, it's like a bow, like a present. It just wraps up so nicely. We'll wrap it up with how you benefit the world. But that's very cool. You guys seem like very cool people, very sweet people. And it's good that you're here, because I think you have a lot of great things to offer the world. But anywho, how are they benefiting the greater good? Okay. How are they gifting the world? The strength in reverse. Your ultimate gift to the world is, not to repeat myself, your unparalleled resilience and vulnerability. You are, yeah, I mean, like I said, you have so much inner strength. You persevered, and you are able to teach others. Even it doesn't mean that you're like actually like teaching others. You just existing and going through life, and then bouncing back up is teaching others by other people watching you. I think you serve as an example, a really good example. Yeah, you definitely teach others that the true strength lies in accepting and acknowledging and embracing your own emotions and weaknesses. You might be going through learning through that right now, but this is what you could offer the world at the very least. You have it in you to benefit the world in this way. Your superhero alter ego you benefits the world in this way. Yeah, through what you do, through existing, just being yourself, just being you. You share so much of healing, of nurturing, and compassion. I mean, that's really it. You guys just being you is a net positive for the world. Wow, that's actually so sweet. Oh, makes me happy, actually. You guys are really good. You guys are really good. I hope this resonated. I'm going to wrap up our reading here. I hope this was a hype at least a good hype up for you guys. And I hope this was fun for you. I want to do something like this more often. If you enjoyed it, feel free to look at my Etsy store. There is personal readings available on there. And feel free to subscribe and like. I want to do more readings in the future, so keep an eye out for that. But that being said, have a good rest of your day. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and you guys are very cool. I'm really happy to do this reading for you guys, so I love that. All right, have a good one, guys. Bye-bye. All right, welcome pile 2 if you chose Spidey Man, either in the thumbnail or the cards. This is your pile. Okay, so I usually pull energy cards with the Animal Spirit deck, Oracle deck, just so that I can make sure that this, you know, resonates with you and that you know that this is your pile. So we got the Pig Spirit right here. Oh, I just realized it has fairy wings. And we got the Lion Spirit right over here. And I'm already noticing something. First and foremost, 7, 7, 7, 7. So 4 plus 3 equals 7. Or life path 7. 7 is like pretty significant number in your life. You might hear my dog walking around in the background, by the way. She wants attention. She's giving me her ball. So, anywho, you might really prioritize or value personal growth, like introspection or like consistent learning, constant learning. Spirituality, which makes sense because you're at a tarot reading, right? Or growing divine connection with your spirit guides, ancestors, or whoever you deem as the higher power. You also seem like, with the life path 7, it seems like I believe that life path has to resonate with academia and intuition. So learning, you might be philosophical. You might really value philosophy. You might read a lot of philosophy. I also think that you might be in academics or research as like a career choice. Totally up to you. Either that or just really into astrology, maybe even an astrologer. So I'm getting a lot of like, wow, that's crazy. 777. Also, they're like the polar opposites, so I'm so surprised. I love that though. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of like, with this lion spirit, especially I'm seeing community leader, because the lion provides a lot for its community. Protection, food, or provisions. They're always on the watch out, keeping an eye out. And Leos or lions typically demonstrate or represent leadership, confidence, bravery. So I'm seeing you as someone who's like leading something. I really am seeing community leader that's like really on the nose, but maybe even like a manager even, or a boss, or even a guide. Maybe, and you don't have to be like an actual teacher. You might be someone who is guiding people in your workplace or school life. Like you're just the person that people can ask for questions. Maybe you've been in that role for a very long time. And with the pig spirit, I do believe that pigs are pretty intelligent, actually. They're incredibly resourceful, very curious and creative. It's specifically creative intelligence that I'm getting from the pig spirit. Which makes sense, because 777 is, a lot of it is like, not necessarily, it can be academic, but it's more so creative academia. So it's philosophy. It's something more broad and not by the book or black and white like science. No hate to science, not a hate at all. I'm just saying like there is a clear difference. This is more broadened, more reliant on your own introspection. So interesting. But nonetheless, academia is probably important in your life. Or you might be getting like your master's or PhD, like your further education, or you might just have been in school for a long time. maybe even a teacher's assistant, because you have some natural leadership qualities. Assistant or even a like adjunct professor, I'm seeing. You also value carpe diem, you know, like you really value life's pleasures, and you try to maintain an optimistic and positive attitude. You might really encourage, especially if you have constituents or people that you guide and mentor under you, to not take things too seriously, to not marry into your work life, to make sure that they have work-life balance. And you definitely inspire a lot of people with both the lion spirit and the pig spirit. Yeah, I'm not necessarily like, you don't have to be specifically a teacher, but you still are inspiring and teaching to some capacity. Yeah, I'm getting lawyer vibes, maybe even coach, personal coach. Interesting. Okay, so I hope that resonates. We'll go ahead and move these aside. Okay. And we'll start pulling for your superpower. So, group 2 superpower. Actually, let me just clear the deck's energy. Alright, group 2 superpower. Oh, okay. I got a couple. Okay. So Justice and the 3 of Cups. Okay, cool. Cute. Oh my gosh, didn't I just say lawyer and community leader? Yeah, okay. Okay. So, accurate. That makes sense with your personality, actually. You probably are the type of person to prioritize community and relationships, finding balance and harmony within those relationships or communities. Like I said, with the lion spirit, you're like a protector almost. Also, I just realized the 7 equals, I think 7 relates to Greek goddess Athena, which is like the female protector. I think she is seen as the female protector. I might need to touch up on my Greek mythology, but anyways, which makes sense. You definitely value respect. You definitely value fairness. Yeah, especially with the lion spirit, if you get like provisions, you want to make sure that everyone gets their own fair share. That's cute. You value accountability, so finding justice, making sure that justice is served. And I think you find it very crucial in your life to make sure you have long sustaining connections with others. And you probably don't have any tolerance to take anything less than that. So you want honesty, you want accountability, you want equal effort. Yes, and you want. Oh, I keep kicking the table. I'm so sorry. And it makes sense with the within your family. I'm kind of getting the vibe that you might have, and this doesn't have to resonate, but it's probably for someone out there because it's coming to me right now. You might have grown up within a family that has dysfunctional family roles. So that just means that everyone in your family, if it was very dysfunctional or unstable to some extent, everyone played a role in your family. And I'm getting the idea that you might have been the peacemaker or the mediator in your family. It doesn't have to be. I'm not a clinician. I'm not saying that this did happen. But if you know about that, and if that's something that resonates with you, you might be at the right pile, is what I'm saying. I can imagine you being someone who thrives in social settings. Like you really love celebrating others, celebrating teamwork, and you probably are like the mom friend. And I think it's because you grew up in the situation that you have in the past with the family dynamics, being the peacemaker, if that resonates. It probably resonates for one person out there at least. Yeah, and you really want to make sure everyone feels heard, because you probably didn't feel heard in the past since you were too busy being the peacemaker mediator. It doesn't have to be in the family, by the way. Maybe that's just your natural disposition, like your natural inclination, and people use you as a mediator because of that. As for your superpower with the Justice and Three of Cups, give me a second. I need a tea break. I see, together, maybe truth inducement as a superpower. Do you guys remember Liar Liar, like the film with Jim Carrey, where I think he gets like a magic spell on him, and for 24 hours he has to tell the truth. I don't remember if that was the premise or not. I hope it is. It's like that, but you make other people tell the truth. Actually, yeah, that makes sense. So, I mean, I clocked in on the lawyer. Maybe you are a lawyer who uses your superpowers to put villains away. Like, you really value protecting the community you work in, and that's kind of how you utilize it. What I'm seeing is kind of like, I don't know if you guys have seen the show How to Get Away with Murder, but one of the main characters, she's the professor and the lawyer in there, is Annalise Keating. Played by Viola Davis. And that's kind of like you have girl boss energy a little bit. Like you are strict with what's expected. Like you have specific boundaries in place. You are really rigid in what you expect from others, and if they don't fall in line, or they falter or they lie, like it's an immediate cutoff. Yeah, like you have those boundaries in place, I'm seeing. Yeah, and outside of the power of like truth inducement, you can probably detect lies as like a passive power as well. Ooh. Huh. Yeah, even like an ambassador for a superhero group too. I feel like you're the guy to talk to when it comes to like contractual agreements and peace treaties and like anything that comes with mediation. So very cool. Hell yes. Okay, so truth inducement is your superpower. Let's see what your kryptonite is. Group 2's kryptonite. What is Group 2's kryptonite? Let's see. Oh, okay. Okay, Knight of Swords. So, your kryptonite or your weakness might be acting under pressure, like making rash decisions, which probably encourages you to have tunnel vision. And when you have tunnel vision, I think that's when it's hard not to have tunnel vision. I just talked about like rigid boundary setting, but I think that rigidity also can bite you in the ass. Especially because you're so justice oriented and protective of your community. I almost feel like you can be manipulated. So if you were manipulated, you might get so tunnel vision into helping this person who just is actually the bad guy. So like, for example, or if you were fighting a villain who thrives on chaos and deception, you may be pushed into like split-second decisions where there are irreversible choices that could be made. Yeah, I think your sense of justice is just so strong, but it still demands a lot more patience and deliberation rather than like this impulsive, or not quite impulsive, but like rash. I guess that is impulsive, huh? Like these rash decision making. Because when you act hastily, you might make decisions that compromise your values or harm those that you care about. I also think like yeah, with the Knight of Swords, I mean, kryptonite is your shadow. So I'm really thinking like if you had a supervillain arch nemesis that could like nullify your powers, I'm thinking about the boy who cried wolf as an actual superhero villain. I feel like their powers to spread false information and deception and fear neutralizes your power, since it's like the total opposite. So you both go about it in similar ways too. Like you don't attack with brute force, but they break your what am I trying to say? Yeah, neither of you attack with brute force, but if you did, for a supervillain like that, like you would be only encouraging that falsified information, and breaking the trust of the community around you, if that makes sense. Okay, we're carving out a story. You're a hotshot lawyer / superhero. What is your friend or ally or support? Okay. Let me give myself water. Okay. Who is your support for group 2? Oh, okay. Cool. So we got the Hanged Man. Oh. Okay, so instead of like the guy in the chair or Batman Robin like sidekick situation, I kind of see you with your mentor, or yeah, actually I do see your friend or ally as more of a mentor, which is going to be a challenge because we're going to have a mentor, Sparrow, Jesus Christ. I need to calm down. We're going to pull for a mentor card later, so I'm curious what that says. But yeah, your friend or ally is definitely more of your mentor. So, maybe even like a boss, a father or mother figure, a butler like Alfred. I'm really getting like boss vibes, like older, within your field of work. Yeah, when the hero version of you is too focused on the action of finding justice and fairness and leading, I see this ally with the hangman is the one who reminds you that some battles cannot be won through force or logic alone. Like it sometimes needs surrendering and deliberation. Yeah, definitely surrendering. Not even deliberation, just surrendering. And I hope, yeah, when you are going through this, when the hero is going through some like intense time of uncertainty in your life, or view the community as shattered, this figure would be the one to not waver or to get lost in the chaos. They see beyond it. They might even let themselves be captured or step back entirely because they understand that sometimes surrender is the only way to find the path forward. Like losing, not being so controlling, not wanting to predict everything. Yeah, they're definitely the voice of reason. So if you have someone like this in your life already, oh, excuse me. Like, I'm getting kind of like boss vibes. It doesn't have to be. It could be a parental figure or even a friend. Maybe another community member that you see once in a while. They might have a more neutral attitude or like very calm, well-mannered temperament, very balanced. And they might advise you if this person is in your life. They might know that you get obsessive sometimes, maybe, become too rigid, maybe even too serious. And that's understandable, because it's a lot more easy to run through life if you know what's going to happen, but we don't. And I think the hangman person is the friend in your life that knows that, and will be in your corner to remind you that it's okay, whatever happens will happen, and I'm still here, and we'll get through this together. You might already have a best friend like that, or someone that you look up to like that too. Yeah. I'm really curious, because this superhero is based on you in your life already. So you might, either you already have a person like this, or you might do well with a person like this in your life. And if you do know someone like this, maybe try to get close to them. Because this is what brings out your superpower, your greatest strength. Which is bringing the community together. Finding the truth of the situation. Being honest. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so who is your friend or foe to the superhero alter ego of you? Who is your friend, or excuse me, who is your foe for group 2? Who is their foe? Who is hindering? Ooh, who hinders them? Okay. Ten of Wands is a hindrance for you. Okay. So right off the bat with the Ten of Wands, the first things to that comes to mind is that you letting your mundane responsibilities and expectations pile up day to day, which overwhelms either the fictional hero version of you or you as an individual. Whether you are a lawyer ambassador, like we spoke about, a teacher, a community leader, a parent, a professor, whoever, whatever, you could still face the avalanche of, I don't know, deadlines, cases, clients, tasks, family responsibilities, juggling all that while attending to your obligations to uphold justice on the streets for your superhero, or just being there for your community, and making sure your community, your circle, your tribe, your family gets everything that they need, is a struggle. You might even let go of yourself to help the people around you, honestly. You might put yourself to the limit, push yourself too hard, both you and the superhero you, to find justice, or I guess to take care of other people. And that is your hindrance, because when you lose capacity and run out like that, you can't help yourself, that you can't help the people around you either. It's hard to find spoons for that. Okay, interesting. No wonder. And the hangman is like, hey, they would probably be like, you know, they'd probably encourage you to be there for other people. It's not a bad thing, but they probably are like, well, you can't control everything. You can't save the world. You can't do everything for everyone. You know, you're just one person. And that doesn't mean that you should stop caring for other people, caring for your family, if that's the case. I'm getting big parent vibes here, but I can see that as like, don't exhaust yourself, you know. Yeah, this struggle could lead you to burnout, to do too much with no breaks. And then when it's time that you are really needed and you're in the state, you can't give it your all. You'll be more impulsive if you are exhausted like that. You'll put too much pressure on yourself, and you won't be able to see things clearly. You won't be able to take actions clearly when you're maxed out in capacity like that. And that might be that might be a hindrance to you in your real life as well. So take it as it resonates, but yeah, I mean, I'm really getting the vibe that like you're a full-time employee and a mom, and you're taking care of yourself at the same time, and it's juggling all that is really, really hard. Okay, so let's do your backstory. I'm really curious. Okay, backstory for group of two. You guys, I'm so tired. Backstory, origin story for group 2, please. I feel like sometimes my brain is going 100 miles per minute, probably because I am channeling this group whose brain also goes 100 miles per minute as well. So, interesting. Backstory for group 2, please. Okay. 6 of Swords reversed. I'm gonna put this guy right here. Let's see. Okay, looks much better. Okay, 6 of Swords. So, unresolved conflicts and the struggle to move on from the past and feeling trapped. Yeah, because if you look at the 6 of Swords, he's flying up high, he's got wings. I think you're feeling kind of trapped in your situation, or have felt that way in your past. And that might be why you're so justice oriented. Maybe you guys are lawyers. Whoa. Okay. So, in this origin story, you might have, or at least your superhero alter ego version of you, have experienced some kind of betrayal in the past, maybe by a former ally or a loved one who turned against them. I think this betrayal could have forced you to confront your own beliefs about justice and friendships and relationships, about family even. And I think it caused you to question whether you can trust people again. You might also have been unable to leave this like toxic situation for a while again. Because of the feeling trapped card. I'm wondering if it's like, so real life you, it could be feeling stuck in cycle pain of some kind, or at the very least disappointment. So I'm thinking generational trauma, familial trauma, because you can't really leave that situation until you're old enough. And it's really, some people do, but it's still, even if you do, you're still stuck in a cycle. You're stuck in that cycle for a long time until you make amends with it and then, start healing your inner child. I mean, that could be the case. It could also be, toxic relationship, like romantic relationship, toxic friendships, toxic, feeling trapped in a toxic workplace. Yeah. I'm really feeling familial, though. Especially because you value a sense of community so much. It might be that you're rebuilding, or you have a good soul family around you now as well. This could be recent. Doesn't have to be, but I'm seeing it as like something that happened a long time ago. It's something that like irrevocably, I don't know if I'm saying that right. It changed your perspective on life permanently. Changed you as a person fundamentally. For superhero you, this inability to move on could lead to like internal struggles. So you might be manifesting as having a lot of guilt or blaming yourself for any external disharmony or conflict, and that's why you prioritize community so much, or your superhero you prioritize that so much. For your superhero, I almost see it as like you once had a mentor that you looked up to, someone that's not the hangman, by the way, who brought you in, took you in, who was more like a paternal figure in your life. I'm only saying that because family, like early childhood, is screaming at me for this. I don't know why. But yeah, someone brought you in, the superhero you, and taught you values of like justice and teamwork. But with the Six of Swords reverse, I do think that your mentor turned their back on to you. Perhaps by engaging in like a corrupt practice or turning a blind eye to wrongdoing. And I think this betrayal leaves you feeling lost and unsure who to trust. And I think for a long time you keep your guard up and bury yourself in work or other mundane, you let things pile up. You're like you just push yourself with no breaks. Yeah, that's the backstory I'm getting. What gets them out of that? What reinvigorates their key or motivation for justice? What invigorates their motivation for justice after that traumatic origin story? Right, last one. Okay. Knight of Wands. Okay. Huh. Okay. Your motivation, I don't think, actually, honestly, I think this was a hiccup, like that lack of trust, the distrust in yourself, because it seems like, I don't know, your motivation still, it might have been smaller, it might have been more subtle, but it was never lost. Because you have such a deep-seated belief in fighting for what is right and standing up to injustice. And you're not afraid to take leaps or take risks. Not, like I said, not recommended, but, or at the very least, not recommended to push yourself like crazy. But, you definitely follow your instincts and you trust your gut feelings when it comes to justice. And I don't, like I said, like maybe you just never lost it. I think it was just more subtle. I think this was a little hiccup, the little guilt feeling, but I think you found your way back rather quickly. You bounced back. Yeah, you just have such a passion and love for the community, and it serves as such a driving force. It probably often reminds you that the pursuit of justice should be fueled by desire for action and willingness to embrace the unexpected, especially because you got the hangman friend there encouraging you to do the same. Yeah, you got Sensei Ally in your corner reminding you of that, which is quite sweet. Yeah, I hope you have someone like this in your life. That's a really neat guy or girl. Okay, but that's the thing, like now I have to pull for your mentor or guide, so I'm really curious what comes through, because he already gives out like mentorship energy, so I'm so curious. Who is your mentor or guide? Okay. 5 of Swords. Makes sense. No wonder I was getting like family guides, family vibes so much, because for whatever reason the swords just represents as like very masculine energy for me. This is a pretty complex figure. Yeah, okay. It could be... Yeah, no wonder I was like getting family vibes from this specifically. It could have been a father figure that betrayed you. You know, doesn't have to be. It could be a relationship you had with a guy even. But I do have like a sense that it was a father figure that betrayed you, because this is the mentor. So the Five of Swords is a pretty complex figure. And they do teach you some valuable lessons about the darker aspects of human nature. Like, they were probably really tense. Five of Swords Five of Swords display as like this very tense or aggressive energy. I feel like if you were taken in by this person and raised by this person, both you as an individual and superhero alter ego you, they might have ran the relationship like it was almost militaristic, like very rigid. I see it as like having, yeah, the Five of Swords is like having more than needed the amount of supplies, like the swords. It's still pushing you to be ready for conflict. It just seems unreasonable. The mentor may value strategy and negotiation and could have taught you that. So like, rather than rushing into battle, they might emphasize the importance of assessing situations and understanding opponents and studying up before taking action. Even still, with what he was teaching you, or they, but it does read as masculine for me. I just read it as someone who's a huge fucking hard ass, like really mean, really combative, to some extent. So yeah, this mentor figure in your life, or at least in your superhero's life, might have took you in and raised you. That's the vibe I'm getting. But they were probably like really difficult to be around and have a relationship with, and that might have, you know, risen like really complex feelings about yourself and your understanding of your world and your self-worth, you know. That could be resonating for you as an individual if you have someone in your life just like this. Yeah, the Five of Swords is really tricky, because as a person, if I read it as a person, I just see it as like someone who is very smug, who has very empty victories, so kind of cocky, maybe even narcissistic, but I'm, you know, take it as it resonates, doesn't have to be. Yeah, and they just are generally overall like unsatisfied with their life or their accomplishments, and they might have projected on that onto you or your superhero you. That's in your backstory, you know. Yeah, they struggle with feelings of alienation, and their confrontational nature pushes people away, including yourself, and maybe they also projected some of those insecurities onto you too, or your superhero you in your backstory. And that's why, you know, in this backstory, they're the person that betrayed you. Yeah, especially because this mentor is it just embodies like the potential for manipulation and betrayal. So I really am thinking it's the mentor from your backstory. Yeah. And I mean, I'm repeating myself here, but they definitely, I get the feeling that they projected this insecurity or dissatisfaction of life onto you. And that might be why you're so justice oriented as well, is because that betrayal hit you so hard and it was so unjust that you don't want it to be happening to you or your community again. And that may be why you're so rigid and push yourself too hard. You are doing everything you can to not have this happen to you again. But you've risen out of that, you know. And you guys, you will find someone in your corner if you haven't already. Let this be also like a warning too, or like, you know, not to push yourself hard, because this is based on the context of your life, you know. Perfectionizing and reimagining it as a comic book story, but this is based on you. And this is Spirit's advice for you as well. Like, don't overdo it. Don't be hasty. Take care of yourself. Okay. What is their biggest strength? What is the superheroes, group 2's biggest strength? What is their biggest strength? Oh. Hell yes! We have Gambit. He's my favorite X-Men. He's just such a good character. Also, I don't know if you guys watched the new, I keep kicking this table, I'm so sorry. I don't know if you guys seen the new Deadpool movie, but Ryan Reynolds does, not Ryan Reynolds, oh my god. Magic Mike guy, I forgot his name. He does such a good Cajun accent. It's hilarious. Anyways, the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, your greatest strength, both you and the superhero version of you, is the ability to embrace change and change the lives around you. For sure. And it really shows that both the adversity you faced and how much you love your community, that you have the ability to change people's lives, people's fates, like dramatically, for the betterment of the world, honestly. I think you change a lot more people's lives than you think, just by being you, just by, you know, being proactive in the community or your family. You should give yourself more credit, honestly. I'm actually wondering if you guys care about a lot of the political stuff that's on right now, because I'm mostly getting the vibe with the Wheel of Fortune that you really are, you like to protest or even like work or volunteer in a nonprofit. That's besides the point. I'm just getting that like additional information if it resonates, because that's what I'm feeling with this Wheel of Fortune, is like you really are proactive in finding justice, like directly like that. Could be for some of you. You possess like an innate ability to sense when to act and when to wait. When you are at your highest point or when you are most aligned. Which also allows you to make strategic decisions and be a catalyst for change in your community. Like I said, like you have the ability to change people's lives really, like dramatically, or maybe not even just people, maybe your whole community. I think you have that capacity. I think you have that in you. And you know what? That's perfect, because I'm going to end it off with, what is your greatest gift to the world? What is your greatest gift to the world? How do you benefit the world in a major way? Okay, yeah, heavy lawyer vibes, heavy protester vibes. Like an honest, good protester. So let me actually make this look a little bit better. Wow, very cool. Very cool. Oh. Okay. The greatest contribution to the world, both you as the viewer and your superhero you, is the ability to expose hidden truths. You can uncover uncover corruption, and you hold those in powers accountable. You hold those around you that did wrong accountable. You don't fight injustice head on, but you not only you fight it, but you outmaneuver it, you know. You understand that the world isn't always fair, especially because of what you experienced with your backstory and your mentor. But you know life throws things at you and it's all chance, but you know that you can still, even though it's all chance, you know that there's still people out there who can manipulate systems to their advantage, and that brute force isn't alone. Brute force alone cannot bring about meaningful change. It takes strategy. It takes creative intelligence. It takes leadership and courage. And you know that. You know that. I mean, yeah, you know that. I don't know what else to say. Like, you know that, and I feel like girl boss, boy boss energy in here. Like, you know your shit. And when you're most aligned, I think you're the most comfortable and confident in doing that. You know that you can bring that, take someone down. You know that you can protect the people around you. And that is your biggest benefit. You know what you believe in is right. Yeah, good for you guys, honestly. I'm really curious if you guys are protesters, because I do have like very, doesn't have to be, even like working at a nonprofit or like, you know, fundraising not for nonprofits, like paying them is a good way to make change happen, of course, but I do feel like some of you are very direct with it, so super curious. But anyways, that wraps up your reading. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was enjoyable for you. I meant to use this reading as like a hype, to hype you up. I wanted to gas you guys up. Even though the superhero powers and the superhero you is like a fictionalized version, it's still based on you as a context, as an individual, you know? So a lot of what I said could be true. Like, you probably are justice oriented, and you probably have someone like this in your life, or need someone like this in your life, and your biggest strength is this, you know, bringing community together and holding people accountable and finding justice and protecting your community. And you probably do have anyways, you know. So like I said, I hope this gassed you up, you feel more confident, and I hope you enjoy this reading. I do have personal readings on my Etsy. It's down in the description below if you're interested, but no pressure at all. Subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed this. I'll be posting more readings soon, and yeah, I will see you guys hopefully sometime soon. Bye-bye. Okay. Hello, pile 3. If you chose the Gambit from X-Men, you are with me here today. So, I initially like to pull out energy cards to make sure that you guys know you're in the right pile. And I picked out the Ant Spirit and the Bee Spirit right here. And the Bee, which they're actually very similar, so it makes sense. Okay. So with the Ant and the Bee Spirit, I do see you guys as a few zodiac signs calls out to me. Virgo, Capricorn, Cancer. Doesn't have to be, but it would be in one of your major planetary areas. It doesn't have to be your sun sign. Could be rising, but could also be Venus, Moon, and Mars. I also see maybe a life path 4. Doesn't have to be resonating, but because of the Ant and Bee Spirit being really productive and hardworking, I do see practicality, reliability, and a strong sense of duty coming through with both those spirit animals. I do see that you thrive in an environment where you can work systematically and contribute to the greater good. So you could be a yoga teacher, social worker, healthcare professional, even a nonprofit worker, which I think pile 2 also got that as one of the careers that jumped out at me. So maybe you guys are similar. Yeah, there's just a level of, it could be also for like a company that's, you know, creating sustainable goods, or you know, it's just something that contributes to a greater good, but you can work in a very collaborative way. You seem disciplined. You could be organized, so you could be an organizer, an event organizer, a community organizer. You value teamwork and collective effort. You also, with the with the bee spirit and the ant spirit, I could see you guys being very spiritual. You guys might meditate or pray a lot. There's some level of interconnectedness with either the spiritual realm or, you know, you interconnectedness with your hive or colony. So like a deeper plane of existence, you know, where you guys feel like you are one with the earth and other people and all living things. That's why yoga teacher kind of stood out to me. Even if you guys aren't like meditating or doing yoga or spiritual in any way, you could just still be very intuitively guided. You might even have some psychic abilities. So yeah, or just practice spirituality in general. Who knows? So that's what I've got from that, from the ant spirit and the bee spirit. Let me put this aside. 1 and 7. Yeah, life path 4 is like smack dab in the middle, so that's what I'm being called to. Yeah, you guys might just be, pile 2 is so similar. Pile 2, we're very community oriented, but you are like really like part of the system. Pile 2 is more of like a leadership role, but it seems like you're just part of the hive. You are working together with other people for the greater good. I don't know why, but eco village, or like, that's standing out to me. Like, you know, those sustainable eco villages where it's, or like a community of people who would live off grid. I don't know why. I mean, that's very, very minor. Like, I bet not a lot of people can resonate with that, but that does that does call out to me too. It seems like that kind of farmers. You guys could also be farmers or work with nature a lot. Yeah, because this is a lot of the like pollination too, and cultivation and gathering of things. I do see farming and gardening is a big deal for you guys nonetheless. Oops. All right. What is Group 2's superpower? What is Group 2's superpower? Okay. We have the Temperance. Cool. Okay. With the Temperance, you guys might be someone who appears calm and composed. Your movements may be really measured and graceful, kind of like Iron Fist over here. Actually, I'll show you guys this card. One of my favorite superheroes, by the way. He also grew up in a temple in the mountains. I don't remember where. I want to say the Himalayas, but I could be super wrong. So that's kind of interesting, because spirituality or like meditative practice called out to me earlier. But anyways, you might display as someone who is like relatively stable and patient. Maybe a counselor or therapist, doesn't have to be. You just have generally moderate temperament. You seem like you approach situations level-headedly, or you are really mindful about succumbing to emotional extremes. You might just have a natural ability to remain composed under pressure within either your work life or your home life. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, I do think that you guys might meditate. You guys have a very balanced approach into resolving conflicts or juggling tasks for whatever reason. Yeah. Yeah, I just imagine you as a type of person who prioritize balancing yourself out by being aware of how your body feels and how your gut feels, and, you know, being emotionally balanced is like a big deal for you. Maybe a Libra rising, I'm getting. That like composed, level-headed, like fair disposition that you guys have. It doesn't have to be, just getting that vibe. Okay, so getting a lot of like meditation, yoga teacher, like I said, really like spiritual for whatever reason. Um, because I think meditation helps you compose yourself in that way too. So with this personality, I do see power nullification as a superpower for you. This kind of perfectly aligns with the principles of temperance, actually. It neutralizes overpowering abilities, so like other people's powers. Sorry, I'm shaking this table. And, it allows you to maintain equilibrium among superpowered beings, and you prevent extreme scenarios from happening. You can walk into chaotic situation and bring calm by suppressing destructive powers before it gets too crazy. So a couple heroes come to mind actually. I don't know if a lot of people will get this. Leech from X-Men or Rogue. So Leech is like this little green guy from X-Men, and he can project out like this dampening field from his body that disables any neural pathways found in the human brain. So it temporarily blocks access from any mutant powers or paranormal abilities. Essentially like a force field that nullifies power, you know. Same with Rogue. Her ability is to kind of absorb the powers through touch. And this also effectively nullifies powers of those she comes in contact with. But I don't remember what her actual powers were. I don't think it like, for you, I don't see it as like it turns into another like power for you. Like you don't have like magical powers. Maybe strength, increased strength, or constitution to an extent, but I don't really see it as like you have an unfair leverage over that person that you nullified. So because I think you have like a very, like I said, like a peaceful, calm disposition. You you might just want to stop violence from happening rather than like try to justify it by stealing their power and then posing violence. Like you don't, it's not like eye for an eye type mentality that you have. Okay, cool. So let's see group 3's kryptonite or weakness. What is group 3's kryptonite or weakness? Group 3's kryptonite or weakness. Five of Swords is your kryptonite. Okay. So with the Five of Swords, I can kind of see this as your kryptonite is someone who doesn't need powers but still has the ability to cause harm. So, excuse me, I need a water. So, let me think about who is a good example for that. Yeah, like I see other people, kind of like Lex Luthor and Iron Man actually. I can almost see this as someone who doesn't have powers, but they have other assets materially. And they use like cheating and underhanded attacks to win rather than strength. So I am imagining someone who fights more dirty, like using traps or hostages, in something that is more tangible that you can't really nullify with your power. You can't really nullify, and that allows them to outmaneuver you. So if you're up against an enemy who relies on like gadgets, mind games, or tactics and doesn't require superpowers, your nullification abilities become completely useless, and that is definitely your kryptonite. Additionally, Five of Swords kind of suggests betrayal as like a literal weakness. So I'm thinking there's a potential for a false ally to kind of lure you and convince you by taking advantage of you. into a situation where their powers are ineffective, like your powers, or when neutralizing an enemy's powers makes things worse. So, like a false friend, like someone who has no good intentions and intend to betray you. You could probably be tricked into nullifying a hero's powers at the wrong time too by this person. Like this is I'm just listing like a couple examples of what your kryptonite could be based on the Five of Swords. So yeah, this could manifest as attacks you can't counter, or people who don't have powers but they have these like material assets that can do harm. People who are a false ally. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So, with the Five of Swords as well, definitely people who can't fight directly. They'll play a game, and, you know, they'll do direct intent. So there's like a sniper, a trap, an ambush, something to completely sidestep you in your ability to some extent is your kryptonite or weakness. So, I feel like you're just a you know, an easygoing person, honestly, in your real life, and I'm wondering if there is someone who takes advantage of your kindness. I think your strength is to be so easygoing and so community or goal oriented for the betterment of your community. Wow, you and Pile 2 are very community oriented. I wonder if you guys maybe watch 2 piles, but that's okay. And your easygoing nature is just very easy to be taken advantage of. It's your strength, but I think some people like undermine you is what I'm trying to say. Some people take advantage of that. I think you're a lot stronger though than you lead on. I think that's their weakness is not knowing your true strength, and I think we'll see that very soon actually. So let's see. Who is the group 3's friend or ally or support? What supports them? Who supports them? Group 3. Okay. Oh! Okay. So I got 2 cards. Oh, that's funny. Okay. So we got the Knight of Swords and we got the King of Coins. Right off the bat, your best friend is Nick Fury. Your bestie, your support is Nick Fury. Good for you. That's hilarious. That's so funny to imagine. Okay. So, if you guys don't know, Fury is like a strategist with vast resources, kind of like Iron Man here with the King of Coins. And he's aggressive and quick thinking. So almost like, wow, actually now that I realize, like, each group had kryptonite being the exact polar opposite, which makes sense, but their friend or ally is also very different from them, but very complementary, which is great. That's a great pattern to see. I didn't realize that until now, but that's quite sweet. I think that's cute. That's a cute dynamic to have. Anywho, yes, so he's aggressive, quick thinking. He's a quick thinking field leader. He doesn't just sit in a command center. He's kind of like in the thick of it. He's making decisive calls. He's taking calculated risks to ensure victory. He's very Oops. Okay, sorry about that. Group 3. I did not mean to drop my cards. And you know, he has wealth, he has connections, and he's incredibly tactical. He has tactical intelligence to prepare for any threat. He also he just possesses like a really sharp mind, and he is so relentless with his drive to act swiftly. Right. Sorry about that. My video cut out. I actually, for the first time ever, had ran out of storage on my phone, which is crazy. Also, Spirit's probably telling me to like hurry the fuck up, stop yapping. So I'll go ahead and just finish my thought on Nick Fury here. Yeah, I kind of went on and on about him, about them. Anywho, your ally for both you and your superhero is someone who is similar in terms of like temperament, calm, composed, but strategic in a very different way. I think Fury ally would challenge you to act before it's too late. And if you did act rashly, he'd or they'd ensure that you have a safety net in place. So they're saying, hey, like, being surrendered and cool and temperament is very nice and rad, but feel free to like take action, stand up for yourself once in a while, you know. And if anything goes down, I'm in your corner. You might already have someone like this in your life, but if not, it could be just Spirit saying, hey, like, seek people out like that. Oh, hello? My dog. Oh, he barks at everything. I'm so sorry. If it gets too loud or annoying, I'll turn it off. But anywho, yeah, he's saying, I keep saying he because I keep thinking of Nick Fury. They are saying, find someone in your life who pushes you and encourages you to let go, or to be proactive sometimes, more so, because you've done enough letting go is what I'm trying to say. So, all right. Okay. Who is Group 3's foe? Oh, right off the bat. Okay. All right. So Queen of Coins. Interesting. Your foe, or your enemy, or your hindrance is someone who weaponizes actually stability. And they use their nurturing nature as like a control mechanism. So a figure who presents themselves in a caretaker or protector way, or provider maybe, but ultimately stifles, manipulates, or undermines you as a person. Interesting. So you are very passive, and this Queen of Coins is could be a maternal figure in your life. Doesn't have to be. It could just be someone who is undermining you. And as an act of like caretaking, so oppressing your ability, undermining your ability, as a way to be like, hey, like I'm just looking out for you, but they, you know, at the end of the day, like I said, they're stifling you. So I actually know someone that comes into mind like this from the comic book world that I use in this example. This could be either in your superhero world, could be maternal or patron-like figure who believes that they know best, and they seek to control you for the greater good. Unlike a traditional villain, actually, who attacks more directly, who's like cartoonishly evil, they might actually offer like comfort or security, maybe even temptation, convincing you to kind of stay passive, or rely on them for protection. Yeah. Or surrender your struggle for exchange and safety. So, they might run an organization in the city, in this comic book world, or even like a sanctuary where they provide care, resources, and order, but at the cost of freedom and agency. So something actually that reminds me is Amanda Waller from Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, and Creature Commandos, like to the T actually. She's like the perfect example because she represents control, pragmatism, and the weaponization of stability, qualities that directly challenge your pursuit for balance and autonomy, actually. Although Amanda Waller isn't like an outright villain, her presence forces difficult moral dilemmas. So, fair warning, a little bit of spoiler. If you want to skip ahead a little bit, you're more than welcome to. But as the leader of Task Force X and Suicide Squad, she is protecting and providing for them and ensuring national security through extreme measures at the risk of like disposing of people. It's almost like the trolley problem, you know, like, do you want to save one person or a group of people for the greater good? She's fiercely devoted to like maintaining order and control no matter the cost. So she incredibly calculating figure. And she has a false sense of stability, and she's super happy to deceive in order to have control, like I said. And that could be through neutralizing threats before they arise. So, because your superhero alter ego is the power nullification power is a wild card to her, she doesn't want to gamble. So she might ensure that you never interfere with her plans by putting you on a leash or eliminating you entirely. Like I said, like this figure isn't like chaotic or openly malicious. But she is ruthless, and she does have assets at her disposal, and she sees people as disposable. So this could be like a direct threat to your ideals. Interesting. I kind of love that as a foe, though. I really like Amanda Waller as a character. She's like gray moral dilemma, you know, like she's it's not black or white, it's not good or bad, she's just in the gray area. And I like characters like that for a comic book sometimes. But I do like Amanda Waller as a character like that. And I also love Viola Davis. Amazing actress, beautiful woman. She just plays her so well. That's probably the big reason why I like her. But anywho, whoops. What is your backstory? What is your backstory? Okay, I've been like shuffling for a while. What is Group 3 backstory? Last time. Okay, last shuffle. Group 3's backstory. Alright. 7 of Swords. Okay, so actually, I'm pretty sure I got 7 of Swords in all the piles, oddly enough. Maybe that's like a big theme within our collective. So, your origin story is a little bit interesting. Yeah, this has, that's so funny. This card has been in the pile in every, Jesus Christ, this card has been in every pile, weirdly enough. So, betrayal is like a huge theme. Wow, I don't know why. Like the collective, or like maybe my viewers specifically, have been betrayed a lot by someone. And that's probably your origin backstory as well. You feel like someone had betrayed you. You might have discovered that the person that you were colleagues with or working with, that you trusted, they were just being a pawn, used as like a pawn in a larger game, same as you, which led you to break away and forge your own path. But this person kind of outed you, so to speak, for leverage. So you guys were in it together. This person betrayed you. You kind of tried to leave because you thought this just isn't what I want for my life. And they kind of totally backstabbed you and took advantage of your kindness. That's what I'm starting to feel. So maybe you grew up in like a corrupt world where like playing fair meant losing, so you kind of learn to outthink and outmaneuver others to survive, but then you realize that that's not what you wanted. You betrayed your own integrity and like values, maybe. No, I don't know. I don't see this as like I think it's just more so of your circumstances rather than because with the previous piles I saw it specifically as like a betrayal from a mentor, I believe, or a betrayal from like a father figure. But in this pile, I think it was just that you were born with like difficult set of cards. You were being oppressed in some way, maybe by this like, maybe this is a mother figure in your life that was oppressing you, to be honest, and that's part of your backstory. And you kind of had to come up with ways to like align with your higher self, but it was tough. There was obstacles in the way. You couldn't be your full self. You couldn't, you had to struggle to survive, essentially. And you had to betray your own integrity or your self-worth on occasion to survive. That's more of the feeling that I'm getting from this pile. So, like a backstory for your comic book superhero alter ego is like, you were part of a covert organization that specialized in like dealing with rogue superhumans, and you were tasked with infiltrating and gathering intelligence, and you became skilled in like deception, lying, subterfuge. Like, you were just a bad guy, maybe an anti-hero, or maybe you didn't even know this was just a way to survive. Maybe you were like a crook or a thief. You were just trying to survive, This is just the environment that you grew up in. And during a mission, you uncovered that the organization was planning to experiment on captured heroes. And the experiment was stripping the captured heroes of their abilities permanently to use them as tools to control civilians. Realizing potential harm, you probably decided to expose the truth, and during your escape, you accidentally activated like a prototype device that, resulted in an explosion. The device was used or going to be used to suppress powers, but then it only granted you the ability to nullify powers instead when the explosion took place. So that's what came to me naturally for your backstory, funny enough. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I mostly, like, I'm gonna be repeating myself here, but I do think that there was probably an oppressive, like, womanly figure, maybe a teacher who told you that, like, you couldn't do something even, or grandma or mother figure, who was just very controlling, and it made you very passive. And passivity, oh my god, I can't say it. Being passive is not necessarily bad, but being passive could be, or too passive could be bad in the way that you are a doormat. Is kind of more of the feeling. And you have this friend or your sidekick here trying to be like, stand up for yourself. It's okay. Like, don't be a doormat. Interesting. Okay, it's all coming together narratively, which is nice. All right. What is your key motivation for justice? Okay. What is your key motivation for justice? Group 3. Alright. Five of Wands in reverse. Okay. Another Moon Knight reference. Okay. Very direct, actually. Your motivation for, justice is it actually fits in very nicely with our current narrative that we have going. You feel the need to prevent discord and protect those who are the most vulnerable. You are not interested in fighting for the sake of fighting, of course, with Temperance and Iron Fist. Yeah, you're just very, like, passive. Like, you might be a pacifist. So instead of fighting for the sake of fighting, you want to create an environment where you can coexist peacefully. And you want that environment to be shared with the community. You want them to have access to it. You have, like, a deep sense of responsibility to ensure justice is served, but without, like, escalating to violence. And instead of, direct way to fight for justice, you might have a more, collaborative, covert way to reach that goal. Interesting. You much rather mediate conflicts rather than, exasperate them. So that might just be your values or your mindset, I was kind of seeing that you were similar to pile 2, but you are in some capacity. There's a community oriented like mindset. You guys are justice oriented, but they are much more direct and you are more passive. You guys have a different way to go about it, which is interesting. It's fun. It's nice. You have a much more, like, easygoing, almost like, yeah, like, didn't I get the idea that you guys, like, were really into sustainability and eco villages? Like, you guys might be the type of person to be like, you know what, fuck this, I want to live off grid, and you guys can come with me and we'll have a sustainable village and we'll live peacefully in harmony together. And that might be your way to kind of stick it to the man, and that's fucking valid. That's pretty sick. So that being said, you kind of had that mindset with your superhero alter ego as well, where instead of, like, direct fighting, that's the whole point of power nullification, is to be, like, mitigate further violence, but also, like, let the people you're fighting for come to their senses as well, like, see the other side. You definitely push for empathy. You push for understanding. Interesting. Okay. Cool. All right. Who is your mentor or guide? Who is your mentor or guide for your superhero? Okay. I don't want to shuffle for too long, so who is their mentor or guide? Last shuffle. Okay. Cool. So you got the Chariot. With the Chariot, your mentor or guide has already mastered the art of navigating challenges and conflicts, actually. So there's someone, I see there that they're already someone who mastered the same thing as you did. But they're proactively teaching you how to harness those powers. With the previous piles, I think there was a pile where the mentor was not as proactive, but kind of kept a side eye on them, making sure that they're going in the right direction. The Chariot takes a much more proactive approach. So this mentor, I can kind of imagine them showing you a step-by-step on how to harness your powers, almost like a training montage. Actually, which is perfect, because I'm pretty sure Iron Fist does have, like, a training montage in the film or the show. Yeah. And they want to emphasize how to use your abilities effectively and responsibly. So I'm really thinking of Shang-Chi, actually, when I think about this, because they want to drive home that it's crucial to act with, like, integrity and purpose. And they kind of share the same disposition and mindset as you, where you want to have purpose before acting. You want to be mindful of other people, and you want to be slow and steady in your approach. Yeah. They want to instill the belief that true strength, your true strength comes from mastery, yes, but also maintaining control over your own path and your own life, which would make sense. I think the mentor would probably see what your support unit or allies see is, especially if you are actually or have faced oppression by a woman figure in your life. Doesn't have to be. That's just what I'm called to say. That they want you to have control over your own life, to not be stepped on, to not be taken advantage of, to really, grab it by the horns. Doesn't have to be overtly like aggressive like that. They certainly don't think that it has to be. Actually, your allies probably do, because they are very more impulsive and rash. Well, not impulsive and rash, but they're more action oriented. But the Chariot mentor is saying you can be passive, you can be balanced, you can be calm, but you can still be that and take control of your own life, I guess. Take direction. Yeah. Focus on balance is what they're saying. Don't be too passive. It's okay to be calm. I'm repeating myself now, but they want to make sure that you know that, because this Chariot mentor definitely has experienced their own battles in their life, and they want to make sure that they instill you as the hero a sense of confidence. They want to really remind you that you have the ability to steer your own course, even in the face of adversity and challenges. I think that you might, if you haven't already, might meet this mentor already. It might be like an older brother figure. It doesn't have to be, but I see someone who's not crazy older. I feel like there's enough life experiences to be older, but not crazy, where, it seems like you guys have like a really good rapport. Like it's a very like friendly conversation. Like you guys have an established friendship almost. Could be a colleague, or it could be someone, if you're LGBTQ actually. I don't know why I'm being called to say that. I think a lot of people, I don't know why. Why did I say, I think someone who is watching is LGBTQ and have a friend or colleague that they're close to an age, but they're a little bit older, who is expressing like, you can be yourself. You're an adult now. You don't have to be afraid. I don't know why I was called to say that. Interesting. Okay. Someone here is experiencing that specifically. Okay. I hope that makes sense. Your greatest strength with your power, your superpower. What is it? What is Group 3's greatest strength? Okay. 2 of Wands. Okay. So I'm going to drop my cards again if I don't put them back. So your greatest strength is your openness to learn, and your sense of adventure, and your openness to explore new opportunities. So you are super receptive to change. You are super receptive to learning. You are super receptive to criticism even. I think you're just ready to and open to navigating different environments, situations, or sudden changes. And I think you want to engage with various communities or even individuals personally, to learn from them. You might even use your unique perspective to connect with them and understand their struggles too. Okay. I'll take a quick pause